Welcome to the Retro Movie Review, the final word in movie geekery. Two geeks will compete in a 2-minute movie rant-off, and the loser will suffer the button of doom. So now it's time to bring out the geeks. Geek number 1 is Clive. And geek number 2 is Chris. And they'll be ranting to avoid something like this. And this. This week our geeks will be slugging it out over the Omega Man. A biological war between Russia and China has wiped out most of mankind, and the dwindling survivors are ravaged by a plague. Charlton Heston plays military scientist Robert Neville, who's immune to the deadly disease. Neville spends his days foraging for supplies in the deserted shopping malls of LA, and his nights barricaded in his apartment fending off the family, a horde of homicidal, plague-infested mutants. Released in 1971, it was adapted from Richard Matheson's sci-fi classic I Am Legend. The Omega Man was directed by Ukrainian-born Boris Sagal, a journeyman who spent most of his career in TV, working on shows such as Dr. Kildare and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The soundtrack was composed by Ron Grainer, who also wrote the theme tunes to Doctor Who and Tales of the Unexpected. Clive will be defending the Omega Man, so he's up first. Are you ready, geeks?
Yes.
Yes.
Your 2-minute rant starts now.
The opening scenes of this movie are amazing. Neville drives to a desolate LA and suddenly opens fire when he sees a movement at a window. You're immediately drawn into his post-apocalyptic nightmare. At its heart, the Omega Man is a western, and Charlton Heston is White Earp, defending his homestead from an army of macabre gunslingers. It mixes cowboy and sci-fi genres in a modern fable that resonates more than 30...
The film's biggest problem is that the mutant family are not scary. They're hilarious. They look like they've spent a year since the Holocaust looting fancy dress shops for second-hand Dracula costumes while dusting themselves with flour. And for a nocturnal brood who are so sensitive to light they have to wear shades at night, they seem to spend a lot of time walking around by torchlight.
So a gang of red-eyed zombies armed to the teeth with petrol bombs wouldn't scare you if they turned up outside your house. And they're far more than pantomime villains. The family represent the threat of the counterculture to American values. It's no accident that Neville is obsessed by a film of Woodstock. But aside from its central message, it's a great adventure story. Anthony Zerbe, who plays
The
Matthias...
counterculture? I've news for you. The hippies lost. The Omega Man is just a desperate attempt by a studio to flog a fading star to a young black urban audience in the wake of their blaxploitation movies. The aging Heston's affair with Foxy Brown like Rosalind Cash is as laughable as it is unbelievable. The only fun to be had watching this movie is to count the number of times people are seen wandering around.
An interracial romance was an incredibly brave move in 1971. Remember, this was just 3 years after the assassination of Martin Luther King. And if there's one man you could count on to save the human race after a biological war, Charlton Heston is that man. What the Omega Man lacks in showy special effects, it more than makes up for in energy and heart. With gripping action sequences and nail-biting final...
The only gripping thing about this movie is Heston's bizarre choice of dandyish smoking jacket. With his grim persona, borderline alcoholism, insane laughter and a never-ending supply of ammo, it's a good job he's on his own. After watching this movie, global annihilation would be a blessing. Heston is far too old for the role and the Christ metaphor is hideously inappropriate. I'd be...
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do me a favour.
This has been the Retro Movie Review. Thanks for watching. Ta-ra!
Do me a favour.